SuperMotocross World Championship and Monster Energy AMA Supercross right here where it should be, Angel Stadium in Anaheim, California. For the SMX Insiders, Jason Wygant and Jason Thomas will be your hosts, but we're going to really focus on getting to the athletes as quickly as possible. We do, of course, want to thank people who are here and help make that possible. It's a press conference, so first and foremost, our press that is here to ask questions. There will also be one-on-one time at the end of the event when we're done on the stage here. So many people we want to thank, of course, our fans at home watching on the live stream, and our partners that help make so much of this happen. That includes Monster Energy, Fly Racing, Rocky Mountain ATV MC, the teams, the athletes, the OEMs, where they're such a massive part of what makes Monster Energy AMA Supercross and the SuperMotocross World Championship go, and our broadcast partner, which is NBC Sports and Peacock. Still too loud. Still too loud over on that side. Folks at home, I don't know if you're hearing that, but in the room, we just want the focus to be on the stage. As we go to Anaheim 1, it's an opportunity to remind everybody that, thank you, media coverage of this sport really is at an all-time high. It is awesome to have these great opportunities to be able to see the races. You can see on the screens here the broadcast schedule that's coming your way. The thing to know is this: domestically in the U.S., every race, all 31 rounds, that's our 28 regular season rounds, 2 playoffs, and a World Championship final, will all be broadcast live on Peacock, as well as linear TV on either NBC, USA Network, or CNBC, including Anaheim 1, which will have a Sunday re-air on NBC this Sunday. Great way to get eyeballs on the sport. And new this year domestically, our Spanish language broadcast, which traditionally had only been able to be heard outside the United States. This is a big move. Telemundo Deportes is going to broadcast our Spanish language coverage of the race. And you can watch that on the Telemundo Deportes YouTube, X, and Facebook channels. So that is awesome that we'll get American fans who are maybe English as a second language a chance to now listen to the Spanish language broadcast. As for the English broadcast team, just a shout out, Jason Thomas and I are a part of that. And coming back to the shows this year as well will be Lee Diffie, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart, and Will Christian. And a shout out to our new host of Race Day Live. That is our Saturday afternoon qualifying show hosted by Justin Brayton and Adam Cianciarulo, with Haley Shanley and Lurch, Stephen Scott reporting from the racetrack and the paddock. And you can also listen to every race on XM Radio Channel 85. That is NBC Sports Audio. But if you need any other details, just go to supermotocross.com and it'll give you all the broadcast info that you need. JT, I think it's time to talk to some riders.
Let's meet the 250 West class, and we will start out with our crew up here of Hayden Deegan, Joe Shimoda, Jordan Smith, Styles Robertson, Ryder DeFrancisco, Julian Beaumer. Levi Kitchen is not with us. He's under the weather as of right now. And finally, Garrett Marchbanks. First question, we'll lead off with Hayden Deegan. Moving to the West this year, you've had a lot of time to prepare. When you think about going into this season trying to win this first leg of the SMX Championship, which is Monster Energy Supercross, how are you going to approach it a little bit differently than last year to get off on the right foot?
Yeah, definitely just focus on that start. The start ruined me pretty early, but I mean, I didn't have a preseason too great of one last season, so I had a full preseason this one, and it's gone perfect, honestly. Like, my days have been really solid, so coming in as strong as I can be, and, you know, just ready to give it all she's got.
We will open it up to the media. Alex Gobert, if you'd like to start.
Yeah, thanks, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. For Julian Beaumer, you made it really evident during the SMX media days here at Angel Stadium that you were coming into this season, you know, with the mindset to win. Can you speak to that mentality and tell us your position right now heading into the opening round?
Yeah, for sure. I'm in a really good spot. The bike's amazing. The crew did an amazing job this off-season with testing, and I've had a really solid off-season. Almost every day has been really good, and I'm fit, ready to go, and that's the goal, go out and win.
We'll pass it around. I do want to say we're going to try to hold to 1, maybe 2 questions per media outlet just so we can make sure we get all the riders in. You can go ahead.
Mitch Kendra from Racer X. Let's go to Jordan Smith here. Obviously a new team with a triumph and everything. How are you feeling heading into Anaheim 1, going to be the first race on that bike?
Yeah, I feel good. We've had a pretty good offseason as well. We got started pretty quickly after the SMX rounds, and yeah, it went pretty good. It was kind of a smooth upward trend of progression throughout the whole off season. So you never really know with the bike until you kind of get on the racetrack. It's always different than the practice track. So I'm looking forward to it. I feel really fit. I've built a good base throughout last year, and just trying to build off that, and feel good and excited.
Zach Newberry, Transworld Motocross, Motocross.com. Styles Robertson, been a long time since we've seen you, over a year. Talk about everything that's been going on, and for you to get to this moment right here, back to racing, and probably a little bit earlier than you were expecting.
Yeah, Tuesday night I got a call. Unfortunately, with Juliet getting hurt, they wanted to switch it up. So yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to be back behind the gate. It's been so long, and yeah, my bike feels good. I feel pretty good, so I'm just excited to see where I stack up.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports, for Joe. Last year, such incredible progression, starting out at the beginning of each of the seasons. What did you have to work on, or how do you get a faster start to get those podiums and those wins in the opening rounds?
Yeah, we did so much start and practice this off season. I actually rode a lot, and yeah, I mean, I did everything I could do. So, I mean, kind of have to show it,
Jonathan McCready for GetDrop.com. Hayden, you're pretty outspoken even about your competition. Are you planning to be like that this year, and will you continue that outspoken nature in your interviews in the 450 class?
Yeah, I don't care what people think. I just say whatever I want. So that's just how it'll be, and that's how it'll be this year too. But we got to focus on winning first, and then start messing with some people.
Michael Lindsay, BioMX for Garrett Marchbanks. Garrett, kind of full circle for you. You have returned to the Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki team, so definitely a big year for you to show your stuff. But in the same breath, your team's very full. A lot of guys have long-term deals going forward. I believe you're kind of on the bubble there, so it's mixed feelings, great opportunity, but at the same time, decent amount of pressure.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a great offseason. Definitely have a lot to show second time around. I think Mitch definitely seen something last year and took some belief in me and this coming year, so I'm super pumped for that. Yeah, no, the offseason's been great. Had a great offseason with the bike, with suspension, motor. Tried lots of new things, found some good stuff. But, no, I just feel like this time around it's been really good. I don't know. I feel like I finally have the right pieces of the puzzle, and now it's just up to me to put it together.
Hey, Hayden, Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. When we talked to you here in December just a couple weeks ago, you talked about being locked in the whole time and getting ready to come here. How does it feel to be in this situation now? All the stuff that you've done over the last 6 weeks as you're ready to race in your hometown.
Yeah, definitely. It's exciting coming back west too to race. Just like Fox this year, when you come out here to race, it just feels like home. And honestly, when I get on my own dirt, I feel like I can just take off. So that's why I kind of made that step too. I'm a West Coast guy. I could ride an East Coast track really good. Obviously, you guys seen that outdoors and too. But West Coast, that's just my stuff. So I'm excited. Obviously, A1 max pressure. Right, you got the sold out stadium. And it's the first round, and I feed off the pressure, and that's when I do my best work. So that's why, I choose A1.
Kellen Brower with Spot Moto Live. Jordan, last year for you, you're obviously on Star, a team that has a history of winning. So when you're in a title fight like that, it's kind of expected. What's the different feeling like of being with this team where you're trying to carry them to that level?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is a little bit different just as far as, they've never had a win or anything. So it would be very cool to be able to get their first win for them. But, I mean, as far as, the training day to day, everyone at the team, we all expect to be out here and the bike's good enough that we can be battling for wins and being in that position again. So, day to day, it's kind of the same feeling as last year, even though it's a different place. It's a lot of the same, working on the same stuff, putting in the laps and just kind of your normal stuff. I'm not going to show up to not try to win. So it's a lot of the same stuff.
Jason, Gypsy Tales, Hayden, I want to dig a little deeper into the whole West Coast thing. I mean, Jeremy McGrath was kind of a guy that made this stadium famous. Obviously, he was a local. Is that, I guess, maybe a little bit of the brand going forward and, really you've moved to Florida and really realized, hey, I'm actually a West Coast kid, I'm a Cali kid, and California hasn't really had the rider to kind of carry over what Jeremy did for this stadium. So is that a part of the mindset in that decision?
Yeah, I mean, coming back to California, it just feels like home. Like right when I get back to my city in Spectacle, I mean, it just feels like I just feel at home, right? So it definitely, I mean, living in Florida is what you got to do to be. I feel like got to be a champion. That's what you got to do. So that's kind of why I'm out there, obviously. But honestly, come back to California, it just feels more natural to me. So I'm excited.
And with the rivalries that you have in this class, a lot of times we see when a rider's dominant, winning championships, it's natural that we start looking to the 450 class. Is there a rivalry already with some riders in the 450 class? I mean, those guys like literally speak on you and you haven't ever raced a 450. So I guess how do you feel about that going into these next couple of years as you sort of start to look more at the 450 class?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I heard guys like Jet or whatever say, I'm not even in his league, right? So, which I think is funny because on our best day on a 250, I think he wouldn't be able to stand a chance, right? So on outdoors, but honestly, I mean, I'm gonna keep working hard, get to the 450 class, and we'll see. But right now, 250s, and that's my goal: winning races and championships in the 250 class. But yeah, I mean, time will tell.
Ryan Nitzen from Cycle News. My question's for Ryder D. Ryder, same colors for you this year, but new program, new look. Can you talk about your offseason and kind of what you learned going into 25?
Yeah, the bike's not too different, so it was a smooth offseason. The first couple months were a bit tough, but as we get closer to A1, it's gotten a lot better. So the last month's been smooth. Made big progress on the bike this year. Kind of feels like a whole new bike, honestly. So yeah, I'm excited to show here at A1, and yeah, it should be a good year.
Question for Joe Shimoda. 2025 chassis changed this year. How did testing go through that process? Second year on the team, 2 new bikes in a row, back to back. How did you find the second year of testing on a new chassis?
Yeah, we did a lot of things, but I think second year on the team, I think my communication with the team got better, and obviously the team's doing everything for me. I would say, yeah, we went through a lot, but way better starting point than last year. So, yeah, they did a great job.
Hey, Joe, we did get to talk to you a month ago, but for those that didn't hear, just talk about all the changes you've made moving to Florida and all the differences in your during the week program this year.
Yes, yeah, a lot of environment change for me. Moved to Florida to Sandbox. I wanted to do it last year, but changing team and moving places like way too much for me. So yeah, I committed to reinvest myself into moving new place and new facility, and I think Florida is I have a good quality riding every day, which I like, and yeah, only thing I maybe don't like is a little bit too humid and a lot of bugs, but other than that, I'm fine with it.
Jason Gypsy Tales, Ryder D, mate, this one's for you. Physically, you look a lot bigger this year. You're a guy that went pro fairly young, out of the amateur ranks. Can you actually feel the difference in you just turning into more of a man as you progress? Can you actually feel that out on the track, and do you think that it makes a big difference in Supercross?
Yeah, it's a huge difference. Even since Vegas, I've gained like almost 15 pounds. So just that itself is a huge advantage. I get now, like, racing against older guys, they did have a lot more strength than I did, and I had a smaller chassis to start out my pro career. So yeah, as I grow, I'm getting more used to it, and yeah, it's a huge advantage. Even in Supercross, just like even the whoops and the rhythm sections, but yeah, it's a huge help.
Dave Arnold from Dirt Sports World. Julian Beaumaire, Juju. So I've known you for years in the watercraft industry. Do you think racing the stand-up watercraft has been a benefit to your Supercross career going into it?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's obviously a lot of similarities. I think it's helped a lot with the way the water breaks down. Obviously, the water is different every lap. So getting used to seeing things differently and having better lines. So I think that's definitely been a big help.
And being on the West Coast now, I know you just moved to, what was it, Temecula? You're riding a lot. Is it the dirt more different than, riding in the East Coast versus the West Coast for you, too?
Yeah, for sure. I think the dirt's a lot different. Obviously, I'm a West Coast guy. I was born here, and definitely I struggled a little bit in the beginning of the season racing the East Coast tracks, and I got better as the season went on. So either way, racing West Coast, so we're prepared to go on the West Coast tracks.
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. Deegan, this one's for you. I'm in the back. So you had a very successful 2024 with you have more experience based on your, you've been winning for a bunch, but you had surgery. How did your prep change from last year to this year with more confidence with how much you've been performing?
Yeah, I just had a lot more time on the bike. I mean, I literally had a broken wrist, so I wasn't able to ride at all, really. I rode a little bit before the first round, but it wasn't anything. My fitness levels dropped off. I still ended up winning the second Supercross, which that's what gives me a lot of confidence too. Is now that I had a whole preseason, I want to see what I can do now, because I don't feel like I really came on in Supercross until those last few rounds, and I was able to show it a little bit at Salt Lake, even though I struggled a little. I still ended up getting the win, but I just feel like a whole season now. It's I don't know. See what we got.
And in SMX, you had a big payday, and I see you got some ice on your neck. You told me you were going to buy some Bitcoin. Did that happen?
That was probably my dad will probably rub it in, but Bitcoin, that was a mistake. I didn't buy that. I should have, honestly. My dad was trying to get me to, but I don't know. I'm kind of scared to put my money into that stuff because you never know what's going to happen. But keeping in other things, but ended up shooting up a ton, so that would have been smart. But yeah, I like spending money, so I got to keep making money to keep spending it, though, so we got to keep winning.
We'll talk about it later. And Jordan, I wanted to ask you, because coming from the Star Yamaha, is there any advantages that you have on the Triumph versus the Yamaha?
For me, I always kind of struggled with front end traction on the Yamaha a little bit, which is kind of something I was searching for a lot. And I think that I actually kind of figured a couple things out going into the SMX rounds last year. Kind of a late time to figure that out. But my front end on the Triumph feels really good. Just really, the bike feels planted and good. So I think that the power is plenty to get the job done. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. Like I said, it's hard to tell what you got until you get to the racetrack. So we'll see tomorrow night for sure.
I think we got Swap Moto live with one more question. There.
Yeah, Don Maeda. This is for Garrett. You look all lonely over there. So talk about your offseason a little bit in the preparation, because the Cowie's all new, and I've heard it's really good. And then I noticed you've been spending a lot of time with Jason Anderson training, and you looked really good when I was there.
Yeah, no, the off season's been great. Probably the most fun I've had in a boot camp in my whole career. So it was cool to have a riding partner with Jason. Jason's been a great guy, and just to learn off of him on and off the bike, it's been great. Dude's an amazing practice rider, so I've never really gotten my teeth kicked in that hard before on practice day. So it was definitely something new to learn. But no, the bike's great. Yeah, we did lots of suspension testing and certain stuff like that, and found some really good things. And yeah, no, the bike feels really good. I don't know, just something about it. I feel really confident in it this year, and ready to go racing with it.
All right, that's going to do it for our 250 riders. Thank you, gentlemen. I think everybody goes that way. We'll try to keep them here for, again, one-on-ones. We will transition into the 450 class in a moment, but we do have an announcement to make today. We're going to do it right now. The dates of all 31 races within the championship have already been announced, but today, for the first time, we're going to announce the locations for the SuperMotocross World Championship playoff and World Championship final. So here it comes. You can look at the screen here. We will return for the first playoff round to North Carolina, a very popular round, great motorsports market there to be at ZMAX Dragway at Concord. But the big news is round two, second playoff round. We're going to go to St. Louis and the Dome, but it will not look like what you saw when we raced Monster Energy AMA Supercross there. It'll be really cool when we unveil the track map for the second playoff round in St. Louis. Folks that have gone to that race, the riders know we have a huge area indoors where there's usually pits and paddock. Well, we're going to be able to run pieces of the racetrack into there to create some motocross-like sections, some cool fan opportunities. And to be in a dome back in St. Louis with a great crowd and that dirt, JT, that's exciting.
Yeah, I think the dirt might be a little bit of an upgrade over round 2 of the playoffs last year. But yes, like you mentioned, having those spectator areas, going through the tunnels, having motocross sections in the convention center of the complex is really going to add to it and really create that hybrid experience in the playoffs that we're looking for. So I think most riders love going to St. Louis for the reasons you mentioned. Great dirt, great atmosphere, and I think the playoffs will deliver that as well.
Yep, and then the World Championship finale, it was a home run to return the sport to Las Vegas, and we will do it again with the Strip in Las Vegas. That'll be the finale. You can see the dates on the screen. SuperMotocross.com for info, and the pre-sale for tickets begins January 28th. And let's transition to our 450 riders, JT.
We're going to have 2 groups of riders. This is obviously the first group, and we will have Jorge Prado, Hunter Lawrence, Ken Roxon, Malcolm Stewart, Aaron Plessinger, Justin Barsha, and Justin Cooper. And we will lead off the questioning with Jorge Prado. Now, Jorge, it's your first full season in America. You make the switch to Monster Energy Kawasaki. Can you just walk us through a few of the changes? Last year, it felt like you were getting your feet wet a little bit with the series, learning a few things. This year, you're here full time. What is the mental difference approaching a full season versus last year where you knew you were headed back to MXGP?
Yeah, I mean, racing this year full time, it's totally different, knowing that I'm staying here and not going back. So last year I was a little bit worried on getting hurt also while racing. So my full focus was on MXGP, but now, I just need to get experience to ever, be a contender for a Supercross title. So everything's different. Come here, living in a different country with a different team. Everything's been going good. I'm happy with the bike and the team, so super excited to get this going.
We'll open it up to the media.
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. Ken Roxon, this one's for you. You came from an incredibly good season last year. However, there was some bike issues with the Suzuki. Has there been any changes from the 2024 to 2025?
Yeah, we got a couple of little changes. I changed to RAP suspension, which I've been, we all go through the, trial and error and trying to set up the bike and whatnot. But I've been pretty stoked with how consistent it's been feeling and just trusting the bike. And I think the biggest change that we have made as well is I've gone to a factory transmission, which I actually really, really enjoyed once we put that in. Just helped the bike ride a little bit lighter and a little bit different power, I guess. And I think that made the bike a lot better. And so those are a couple of little changes. I mean, besides that, everything's the same, but those are 2 very big components of a bike. So I'm excited to put it on a racetrack here. And as I have not raced with the factory transmission since basically 2016. So I'm just excited to put it on the track and see what it feels like.
Don Maeda, Swap Moto Live. Jorge, Jason already touched on, being here full time, different attitude. What was the biggest adaptation for you getting on the Kawasaki KX450?
Well, I need to say that adaptation was pretty good. I'm very happy with the bike already since day one. I pretty much felt like I've been riding the bike for long, so this was pretty cool. I think the team has already a very good base setup, so for me to build from there was kind of not easy, but we already had a good base setup. So as soon as I'm getting to speed, we make small changes, but like I said, I'm very happy with the bike, the team. They all helped a lot to get me feel comfortable and to make me a better rider. So, yeah, very, very happy with the Kawi.
I have a question. Jorge, you and I talked about this in the off-season. By chance, we started a Spanish language broadcast for the first time last year, pretty much the same moment you came over. Now you're here full-time. Now people can watch that in America for the first time with Telemundo Deportes. Talk about trying to build your fan base and find your spot in America, but to have that at the same time also.
Well, I think it's very important to get the Spanish-speaking people to watch, let's say, Supercross, SuperMotocross. And yeah, here in the U.S., I mean, at least in this side of the U.S., I feel like everywhere I go, I can speak Spanish. So it makes me feel more, let's say, at home. And I think we can reach to so many more people getting the show in Spanish. So I think it's good for the sport and obviously good for me too.
Scott Yarjo, MotoNow blog. Malcolm, we saw you have a full year for the first time last year. How was your off season after that, and how much of a difference does that make to you going into this year?
Oh, no, it's for me, last year was a little bit of a struggle in the beginning, and then, towards the end of the season, it was actually starting to come around where I started feeling really comfortable. But getting all 31 races under my belt was really good, and then, of course, doing the Paris race, that was awesome, pretty awesome for me to just do and mix it up with a few of the guys that come over here to go over there and do it. And then, again, we had a really good off season, so I just kind of had the mindset. I was like, if I can just keep myself on the motorcycle and just learn more, the bike and everything, just keep myself loose, I feel like I'll be ready for 2025. And so far, all that has come about, and I'm feeling really good, a lot more confident going into this year than I was last year.
Yeah, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. For Aaron Plessinger, last year in Supercross, it was quite a convincing season for you. So how do you build upon the form that you displayed 1 year ago, and where do you set the expectation for 2025?
Yeah, my expectations for this year is to just do more of what I did last year. Unfortunately, I got hurt at the end of the season. I think I would have finished the season out stronger, but yeah, my overall expectation is to get more than one win this year, get good starts, be consistent, and just try and be a title contender.
Under Lawrence, Jonathan McCready, GetDrop.com. You ended the season really strong last year. How has the testing been for Supercross on the new Honda, and is a title the goal here for you?
Yeah, it's been good. Obviously, last year we didn't start off the best, and we kind of fought our way through the Supercross season and finished off strong, but we're definitely in a better place with the bike and myself this year, so it'll be good. Obviously, everyone feels really confident in their bike and set up in themselves, and until Saturday A1 comes, and then everyone kind of either panics or kind of reaffirms, no, we're in a great spot, so we're excited.
Hey, Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. This is for Justin Barsha. I can think about how many times I've seen you sit here on the weekend before Anaheim won and go out and win. You're a different factory rider this age. You're a young guy getting in, however it is. Now to see you on the gas, you're a dad, you have another kid on the way. You're already looking at the next stage of your life. As a guy that's done it so many times, how does this Anaheim one feel compared to past ones?
Feels very similar to all the rest. Still got the butterflies and the nerves. Woke up this morning and yeah, feeling like it's race week in Anaheim. Still feel like a young kid going racing again. So yeah, not a lot has changed. Obviously, a lot has changed. Family life, kids, and things like that, and growing up. But all in all, still feel very similar. Got the little nerves today, seeing all the familiar faces, and but a lot of excitement. I'm really looking forward to going out there and riding. And that's when it starts feeling better, when you got on the track and you ride. And but yeah, I've had a really good off season. It has been a lot of new stuff this year. Fresh start, really. I put a foot forward, and really excited. It's been good, and had a lot of fun riding with Aaron and Malcolm, trained with Eldon, and the whole Rockstar Gas team has been really good with me. So we're in a good spot, and we'll see when we get out there as well.
To do the same thing, I mean, it's the same job that you've always been doing, but you're doing it in a different way now. How reinvigorating is that to attack it this year, working with Eldon, doing the work that you did down at the Baker's factory?
Yeah, for sure. It was really good, honestly. Being at Eldon's, his facility's awesome. Pretty much for me, it takes stress off my plate. I'm able to go to the facility, do my work, go to the gym, and then go home and spend time with my family. So really, it just took stress off my plate. I'm able to spend more time with my family. I do the work at the compound, and then I go home and do my thing. So really, it just simplified my training program, my riding program. We have Seth down there taking care of all the parts and bikes and all our mechanics, and it was just really just a simplified off season. It was quite nice and less stressful.
Steve Mathis, LVK show. Sorry, Gypsy. Justin Cooper. This is a good, big year for you. You had a nice season last year. Obviously, you've got to be thinking like you can win one of these things, right? You got on the podium last year. Do you feel like you're improved? Do you feel like a win is now the goal for you?
Yeah, I think last year was it was obviously a big year for me, and didn't really know what to expect for myself. Kind of getting into the class, it was really important for me to just have that full season, I think, and obviously started to build in a good way through the end of Supercross, and then into outdoors was really good. So I think the most important part was just getting all that racing under my belt, the experience and all that stuff, and just feel a lot more comfortable now. Going into this year, I'm in a lot better of a place mentally, and I think, yeah, now the goal is to just use what we learned last year and put that into effect. And I think a win might be there. So just more podiums and just want to be up there in the fight.
Good to have you in the presser, Steve. Jorge, I kind of just want to build off Wygant's question for you, essentially. And does it feel different to be the only, Spanish top-tier Spanish rider in the US? Obviously, in Europe, you're representing your country, but there's so many other Spanish riders there, but you're kind of the guy here now to try and build that fan base here in America. So I guess, how does it feel to be that guy and the importance of that position? And I'd also love for you to answer that question in Spanish as well for the Spanish fans.
All right. Well, first I will answer in English and then I will switch. I think it's cool because I feel like I'm representing, let's say, Spain, obviously. But at the same time, all the Latins here in America, there is such a big community of Spanish-speaking people that I feel like I'm, the one that's representing them. So I think that's cool. And like Jason said before, having the TV in Spanish will attract so much more all these Spanish-speaking people. So I think it's pretty cool for the sport. Now, should I do it in Spanish then? Okay. La verdad que yo siento que represento a España, obviamente, al ser español, pero también por el idioma siento que puedo representar a toda la comunidad hispana, por lo que para mí es algo súper importante también. Creo que de cara al deporte, de cara al SuperMotocross, podemos llegar a muchos más aficionados y creo que conmigo y con mis buenos resultados podemos hacer, pues eso, crecer el deporte y obviamente pues crecer la figura mía como piloto.
Thanks, Jorge.
Yeah.
Kenny, just a bit of a random one. We had Eli on the podcast yesterday, and I asked him who, over his career, was his biggest rival. And he mentioned you as the guy that over the longest period of time. So where does Eli rank in rivals in your career? Obviously, he's back. Maybe this is his last season. So where does he rank in your career as a rival? And do you have maybe a favourite memory or moment that you two have shared out on the track? Because there has been a lot of races.
Yeah, there has been a lot. I mean, honestly, I would as well say that Eli has probably been my biggest rival over my entire career, just because when I came over, first off, for Mini Olympics for the first time, right, a long time ago, we were riding at Ricky's farm actually for the first time and started hanging out, right, and then we had the World Championship on 85s back in the day in Finland, so we started racing there, and it's just crazy, we're 30 and 31, 32 years old, and pretty much have raced each other since we were kids, so it's hard for me to really pick out one specific memory just because we've had so many over so many years, right, but I think ultimately, battling for race wins and essentially championships, back in, or at least when I was a championship contender in 2016 and stuff, we just had so many good moments. And I talk about that with my wife even as well, how cool it has been. And there's a bunch of other riders that I've raced for a really, really long time, right? So, yeah, I would say Eli and I, we go way back and we're still at it in our 30s.
All right, that's our time for our 450 guys. Good answer there, Kenny. We will send you folks that way. There will be one-on-one time with the athletes as well. We have another batch of 450 riders coming up. While they take the stage, we're going to mention, you can cheer for them. A topic we hit many times, so Jorge Prado, yes, the Spanish language broadcast can now be heard domestically in the United States this year, but there is, of course, a very strong component, if you're out of the United States, to be able to watch the races via the SMX Video Pass. Over 150 different countries were watching the races last year. We will have the Spanish language broadcast, the English language broadcast, and new this year, the French language broadcast. Saturday night will be hosted by Maxime Martin, affectionately known as French Weege, joined by the great Sebastian Tortelli, former winner of the opening round of AMA Supercross. And then throughout the year, we'll cycle in David Villemin and Marvin Muscan, also as analysts for the French language broadcast. All that available, the SMX Video Pass. If you're outside the United States, go to supermotocross.tv and sign up for that. No excuses, no matter where you live. You can watch it. And now we bring our last batch of 450 riders up, Jason.
Second group here, and most notably, these are former Premier Class champions. And for the first time ever, we have 5 of them all lining up on the gate here in 2025. So that's a great thing to have that much of the old guard and the new talent all on one gate. Jet Lawrence, Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, Cooper Webb, and Jason Anderson. Start the questions off for Jet. In the past, in this sport, so many riders have gone into this boot camp mode starting in November all the way through December, show up here ready for Anaheim. You and your brother seem to do it a little bit differently. You raced a lot in November, and then it sounded like there was a lot of testing that went on in December versus just the lap after lap type of boot camp. You talk just a little bit about the approach and the thought process that goes into that versus what we've kind of come to think of as the norm.
Yeah, we had obviously we got a new bike, new frame, new chassis, so we're trying to see which parts work. Show is always coming out with more parts, better parts, see which work, and we're kind of doing the eliminated kind of thing, we got to see which works. Okay, this part works and it's better, but now we got a problem with this part. So it's kind of had a lot of that, and we got a decent amount of laps, and it's good enough. We're going to do plenty enough this year for sure. So I think we're in a good spot. Where the bike's feeling good, and we're just excited to go racing. It's always you can have the bike perfect for practice, but sometimes for race, you get there and the bike doesn't handle like you want it to be. We were at that stage last year. We came in way too stiff, so I think we're in a good 8-ball right now, and I'm just excited.
We'll open it up for the rest of the media.
Hey, Eli, Michael Antonovich with Course Heading. You're the guy that I think everybody has a lot of question marks about after last year coming back from the injury, seeing you progress, being open about this was a bigger thing to come back from, announcing how this year was going to go, and then racing all offseason to get yourself back in shape. Like, we know you're pretty quick right now. How does it feel coming into this one, and then what's the expectation for the year?
Well, I hope it's better than last year. My showing last year, A1 was just no good. So, it was good to do some racing and really just get going. Right? Took the whole summer off, so Donations was awesome. WSX was really nice, and then just kept things going. Really, the only thing different I have now is a different fork system, but it's working really well. And body's better, so time to go see what we have.
Steve Mathis, The Weed Show. Chase, I think you're back here. It doesn't matter, actually. You're the biggest question mark I think we have. We know the other dudes, how good they're going to be, how solid. You got a podium here last year. You couldn't believe it, how fortunate you were to get a podium compared to the bike setup. Don't just give us the cliche stuff. Like, for real, do you feel better on the bike? What'd you guys do? What'd you find? It's year 2 for you on the new bike. Are you back to being where you were in 23?
I think it's kind of hard to say at this point just because we haven't raced. But compared to last year, I was a week before last year, I wasn't even going through the whoops and really didn't have any time like doing motos or anything like that. So this year, I've had a whole month and a half of doing motos, just doing laps and getting more comfortable. And then also we have tested and got a lot better with that stuff. So I'm in a better spot, but I'll let the riding do the talking tomorrow. And I'm really having fun on my dirt bike right now, which is nice. And just excited to go racing. It's been a long off season since Las Vegas SMX. So excited and ready to get the season underway.
Jonathan McCready, GetDrop.com. Question for Jed. Jed, your style to me reminds me of the technique of Stefan Everts with the mentality of Ricky Carmichael, which is quite a deadly combination. Now that you've won everything in America already at 21, is your motivation to leave a legacy like those two guys have and Jeremy McGrath and have your numbers when you leave the sport on that level as one of the best of all time?
Yeah, that's those records for me. Like you said, I've won everything I can win with a championship-wise. There's still some places I haven't won yet, so we can obviously have that motivation. But for those records, this kind of helps me wake up. You got to have those little small goals for each year that I have, but then I also have those big ones that some people question. But that's what makes me me. You got to have that long distance, because if I just go for each year little goals, I'll run out of goals and then I'm out of the sport early, so you obviously don't want that. I want to be in the sport for as long as I can and be healthy until I do get bored. But we set those stupid ones just so we have always a bigger target, it's kind of how I work. I've always been like that, and that's just me.
Nick Steele, MotoOnline.com for Jet. Sort of a follow-up. I feel in the recent months for you, it's almost like a mentality change where you're okay if you're not liked.
if you get pushed back, it's almost like you accept that now. What's those last few months been like, and is there a change?
Yeah, you know, I've kind of I was had a dull one last time I was here. I think I mean, I just had the emotions kind of showing, and it's probably maybe think people have won, but you know, I've gone back and, you know, assess it, judge it, and then change. You know, I'm a human being. I can change. I'm allowed to have emotions, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm coming in still the same. I'm trying to stay the same as I am and not let other people change who I am, because a lot of people do that, and I think that this shows a little bit of a weak mentality. I know I don't have that, and at a point I kind of almost did. So, but we're changed back now, and we're just focused on riding, man. Like, I get to do this as a life, so it's I'm living my dream. And people always have comments, but it's the reason why they have a phone in front of their face, because either way they're going to come and watch me either fail or win. So for either way, it doesn't faze me. You're still coming to watch. So yeah.
Johnny Hopper with MX Unfiltered. Sexton, this one's for you. A wise man once said, the ultimate measure of a man is not what he does in times of comfort and convenience, but what he does in times of challenge and controversy. And there is an elephant in the room with the financial instability of KTM. Is there any extra pressure on you to perform?
No, I'm here to win, and that question's more for John Hines. He's here this weekend.
And Eli Tomac, this is your swan song. What can we expect in 2025?
Well, I don't want it just to be a send-off, you know, and just mailing it in by any means. So I'm trying to just be a better me than the year past, even though, you know, this is the last one.
Hey, Alex Gobert, MotoOnline.com. For Cooper Webb, it seems like this off-season your form's been quite strong. So where would you, I guess, judge yourself, position yourself leading into Anaheim 1 this year compared to years past? Because you look like you're in shape, ready to go.
Yeah, hopefully in a better spot than ever before, right? Like we always say, but it really is, right? It's my second year with the team. We had some great off-season races. We had a great boot camp, and yeah, I haven't changed a single thing on the bike. So for me, it's been a great off-season, pretty one you dream about. No real hiccups. So yeah, I'm excited to get up here. You know, there's 5 champs up here. There's 5-10 more other guys that are able to win. So it's going to be an amazing year, and I'm just excited to see where we stack up and put ourselves in good positions.
Scott Yarja, Moto Now blog. Eli, to expand on your previous question, with this perhaps being your last full year, is there more pressure to go out and win? And also, do you approach Saturdays any differently, kind of trying to take it all in for the final time?
No, there's not any more pressure. I mean, there's comes to a point where it's like you just know what to expect, and you just go do you, and that's all I can do, and try to be the best I can be. So no added pressure. I'm happy to be in a better position last year, at least in my opinion, physically. So let's see how it goes.
Ando, mate, you are a dude that always prioritizes, obviously, the on-track stuff, but you're probably one of the cooler guys off-track. We saw some pretty cool stuff get released yesterday from Alpine Stars. The last time you were on track with the SMX, like you were doing some collabs with Win, and there was some cool gear stuff. Can we expect some pretty cool stuff from you in 2025? And I guess maybe just like explain a bit of your mentality around why that is important for you.
Yeah, you know, I obviously, like, I prioritize my racing first always, but I don't know, other stuff, I'm just interested in it. Yeah, honestly, in my free time, I'm just, you know, kind of bored. It's not like we can do much whenever we're off the track. And for me, like, doing some of those projects, and honestly, a lot of them are some of my friends that I'm able to do those projects with, you know, between some of the gear stuff that we've done. And I'm lucky that Alpine Star is a really good platform for us to be able to do it with. So, yeah, I think obviously I think most of the guys that are wearing Alpine Star are going to be wearing the Dirt Studio stuff tomorrow. And I think Donnie crushed it on the design, and I think it'll be fun to do more projects like that. You know, I think for me, I enjoy doing that, and I'm just trying to enjoy my racing too. So keeping it fun.
Just as a follow, Jason, I asked you about a month ago about your situation. You come off winning 7 races in 2022, and you mentioned that it wasn't necessarily you regressing. It was the gentleman seated to your right that had all kind of raised the level from then till now. We've had a month. You've had an off season. Have you been able to take a step? You know, you were really close to winning a race last year, notably A2. Do you think you've taken a step to get back into where you can fight for the championship again?
Yeah, I'm hoping so. You know, I try my hardest every day at the track, and you know, the last couple years I've been close to winning a race, and it's just been tough for me. You know, I feel like these guys, especially you know between Chase and Jet, the level's gotten a lot higher. But at the same time, I still feel talented enough that on some nights and certain tracks that I could still be capable of putting myself in a position to win. So I guess my first goal this year is to be able to win, because for me, I'd like to win a race again. That'd be awesome.
Kellen Brower, Swap Moto Live for Eli Tomac. You've always kept your training program pretty tight to the chest, but it does seem like you spent a little bit more time at the goat farm this year. Is that the case? And if it is, how much different has that kind of set you up for this year?
Yeah, I spent December down in Florida, so it was a good change up. I actually do enjoy it quite a bit more than California. So they've got 3 good tracks down there right now, and it's good to get in there with the 250 guys. I call them like the hyenas. You know, they're out there just whatever, always nipping at your heels every day. So it was a good time. Keeps you fresh when you're, you know, the crusty 450 guy.
Eli Tomac, question. You look at your name in the record books, an illustrious career, so much great success. If you could go back to when you were a rookie, what conversation would you have with that kid?
For me, it's just finding like the right mental calmness on the line and controlling emotion. Really, it's amazing how your mind, or at least my mind, evolved and changed, say from 20 years old to 30 years old on the line.
Dan Beaver, NBC Sports for Cooper. Last year, you were able to pressure Jet towards the end of the season, even with the injury. How gratifying was it to be able to ride that well? And then how do you project going into 2025 and being able to use your mental toughness, that mental game that you've got to increase that?
Yeah, like I said, we had a great year last year, and I feel like I'm in a much better spot. I'm sure everyone evolves the same way, but yeah, it was tough. You know, fighting the injury was not easy, and you know, 3 of us ended up with a similar injury, which is pretty crazy. So I think they know how tough that one is. So yeah, just being healthy again is nice, and that's part of the battle, right? And racing in general is staying healthy all year. So that's the goal, and then also to just be more in the fight. I still believe I'm capable of winning and have a great opportunity this year, and that's going to be my game plan every weekend is put myself in good positions, take advantage of things, and be in the mix like always. So yeah, I feel like my riding's been good, and last year was a good indicator. So we'll see where we end up at the end of the year.
Zach Newberry, Transworld Motocross, Motocross.com. Jason, how has it been working with Garrett Marchbanks, obviously a kid in the 250 class? Normally you're a guy that likes to do things by yourself. So has that helped you into this year? And obviously a contract year for you as well, kind of a second part. Is this something to where you're fired up a little bit more than previous years to make this count and get people to look at you moving in the future?
Yeah, I think obviously for me, I'm getting older. It's nice to have some of the 250 guys. They're just enthusiastic, and they're still for Garrett, he's chasing a 250 championship, so he's hungry, and it's nice to have that enthusiasm around. And even for me, like with my new teammate, like everything's new to him. Being on the team and everything like that. So I guess the energy around our team has been just super fresh lately, and yeah, Garrett's riding really good, and I'm hoping he can do some damage in the 250 class, because it's nice to be with someone every day, and it's cool to be on the line, kind of being a fan for kind of the guy that I'm doing the road rides with, and we're in the trenches together.
Jet, mate, saw a little pic from film guy Tom's Instagram of you jumping on the Honda Jet to Jet on out here. Hayden was on a jet as well. Are we like getting back into the private jet era of the sport? And I mean, that's got to be like a good sign, right? That things are kind of moving in the right direction if you guys are making those kind of moves.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was a cool experience. It was my first private jet ride that I've ever been on, and it was with a Honda, so it was pretty cool. Obviously, mine was free of charge, so it's a little different. And yeah, I mean, it could be, but I feel like nowadays the pricing of per hour is different. You know, nowadays it's like 6,000, 7,000 per hour, and for us to fly across country, it's a stupid amount of money that's just not needed. You know, I mean, it's cool and all, I think, for a one-time thing, but it's not like the old days where you may be paying like 1,000 an hour or so. But no, I mean, it's cool we're getting back to that. I mean, personally, I'm always striving to make more money and make this sport, try and get it more higher like football and that stuff. I think we've still got a long ways to go there, but we're getting closer. But no, it's good to see that. It's just cool that we're lucky enough and grateful enough that we can purchase those things, you know, with our sport doing well.
Mitch Kendrick, Race Trucks Online. Let's go to Chase Sexton here. Obviously, the way the Super Motocross finale ended, you got hurt, just a racing incident, but then you missed Motocross Nations. We know you're a guy that gets fired up. I guess, did you have a bad taste in your mouth all off-season? The goal was always to win, but were you kind of pissed off with how it ended and extra motivated coming into this year?
I mean, for a week or so, I was kind of upset, but after that goes by and Motocross Nations was over, I kind of stepped back and go on vacation and kind of just chill a little bit. So, yeah, it didn't last long. I still had the same goal, and no matter how that series ended, I always come back and try and be better. So, yeah, it was a bummer. I think I made it like 2 corners into that race, but it was a racing incident, and I worked a lot on my starts this offseason because if I got a better start that race, I wouldn't be in that position. So, yeah, that was the main focus this year, just getting off to clear air, and yeah, so try to do that and not be back there and in that spot.
I got a final question. I'm going to go to you, Eli Tomac. You seem like you're in such a great place, and you have high expectations. Is there any chance at all that you could be back in this press conference next year? You said it's your last one, but what if you really like it and do really well? Any chance? 2026?
I don't know. Depends if I throw up W's or not, so we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know is a yes, Weech. If there's any chance and you say I don't know, that's a yes.
I'm taking them the saying there's a chance answer, even though he didn't actually say that. Thank you to our 450 former Premier Class Supercross champions. And one-on-one time over there. Riders will be on the track at 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock, we'll have riders on the track, so you can get photos and videos of that. We'll be bench racing about that all the way into tomorrow. Again, we'll be racing Peacock. NBC will have a re-air on Sunday. You can see all the TV listings behind me on the screen. SMX Video Pass if you're international. That's it for our press conference. We will see you tomorrow.